Hi everybody, it's me, Corey T, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to change your love story. So I'm talking about this all the time with my clients, and I've experienced the same thing in my love life as well. I mean, many of you know that for years and all throughout my 20s, I really struggled with my love life and my story. And I had this repeating pattern, which was so infuriating and frustrating, of being attracted to and being drawn to guys who, for whatever reason, could not be there for me and were not available to me in some way. Either they were living really far away, they were not ready, they were emotionally unavailable in some way, or maybe they were even with someone else, and I was just drawn to them like a magnet. And every time I was disappointed, and it just happened again and again and again. And I always felt like I was the one who guys just loved but never wanted to do anything about it, or they adored me but they didn't want to actually commit to me. And it just happened again and again and again. And I really felt like the odd one out with my friends. All of them were just getting engaged, getting married, having babies, and I just felt like there was something not right with me and I couldn't understand it, and everyone felt sorry for me, and that kind of made it worse. And it was just exhausting living in that cycle and that story. And that was even true for when I met my specific person, and the person that I'm with now. When I met him, he was not available, he was not emotionally available, he wasn't ready, and it was just the same thing again and again and again. But with him there was a very strong pull that I couldn't ignore, and it was something that I'd never really felt before, and a connection that I didn't really understand and wanted so much to explore it. And this is the thing, when you have a specific person, I believe that pull, that really strong draw to that person, is because that person has something to teach you about yourself. So we interpret these repeating patterns as there's something wrong with me, and it makes us feel again and again and again like I'm not good enough. But that isn't the case. You are always good enough. I was always good enough. There's nothing wrong with you. But, you know, like in Taylor Swift's new song where she's like, it's me, hi, and the problem is me. And if we put that into the context of seeing repeated patterns in relationships, it's not to say that you are a problem and therefore there is something wrong with you. That's not what it's saying. But it's saying that really you're the common denominator. If you're seeing a repeated cycle and it's happening with different people every time, you're seeing the same sort of feelings come up, that's most likely because you're living from a story and you're living from a narrative where your unconscious mind is looking for and being drawn to those circumstances because it believes that's what it is. It believes that's how it goes. It believes that that's who you are in relationships. So the first thing to do is to notice that you are living from a story in your love life. You are living from a story, and that story is not who you are. The story is just the narrative that you have believed and are playing into in your life. And the way that you are playing that out, you're playing the role of someone in that narrative, is you might be saying certain things to your friends like, my love life is awful, it never goes my way. You might be telling people the stories that have happened in your life, and you might be telling people that you are someone who doesn't experience good luck in your love life. You might be perpetuating it by just having that language and that dialogue that you're repeating to other people. Therefore, you're enhancing it. You're saying, this is who I am. This is what happens to me. This is that classic phrase, the story of my life. Every time that you repeat that story to someone or yourself, you're perpetuating that narrative. So that's the first thing. Become aware of the language that you're using with yourself and with other people, and notice that you are just in a story, and you have got that story from past experiences that you lived when you were younger, and now your unconscious mind is trying to protect you by reminding you of what happened. But the truth is, we only have now. We only have the present moment. The past has been and gone. It's done. It's not going to come back. And that's amazing, because then we have a powerful moment where we can decide to change the story and change the narrative going forward. And that doesn't mean that your unconscious mind is not going to try and protect you, because it's got that memory, it's got those core memories in your unconscious mind to refer to when it comes to relationships. So it's going to try and protect you. And let's just say that we know that that's going to happen. So yes, there's going to be anxiety, and yes, there might be feelings of fear that you might experience when it comes to getting close to someone and being vulnerable with someone. You will experience that fear if you've experienced those uncomfortable emotions in the past. But when you know why that is happening, and that is only happening because of your self-protective mechanism, you cannot take it so seriously, and you can start to disidentify with it because you know what it is. So that's the second thing, understanding your emotions and what they're doing, so that you don't identify with them anymore, and so that you don't take them so seriously, so that you can show up differently in your reality. You can then ask questions rather than assuming the worst. You can be curious rather than jumping to a catastrophic end where you feel like you've been let down, heartbroken, and like nothing ever works in your relationships and in your love life. When you feel those feelings of fear and you find yourself jumping to the worst case scenario, that's where you've got to jump in with your consciousness, with the ability to know that you are going to create a new story and put your foot down and say, no, that is not who I am anymore. That's not what happens for me. So changing your narrative about who you believe you are and what you believe happens in your love life is so important when it comes to changing the entire experience that you're going to have of your love life. So this is actually the purpose of the November program that I've got coming up, happening from the 1st of November. We're going to be changing the narrative. We're going to be doing things every day. So every day I'm going to be sending everybody a prompt, a manifestation activity to do to help you ingrain a new story, to start thinking every day about that new story, an activity to refer to throughout the day so that you're saturating your mind with the new story. So on top of that, we're going to be mentally preparing ourselves for walking into that healthy relationship that you are creating from the inside, so that when those triggers come up, when you get that fear and that old story pops up, you know what to do with it. You know how to respond differently, so that you can change the narrative in the moment, so that you can live from a new story. So that is why I've created this 1-month course, which is called Chosen, Cherished and Loved, and it's 30 days so that we can have consistent, regular practice of embodying those states within us, so that we know what to expect. I really do think, from my experience as a coach and as a person, from my experience in my own love life and witnessing so many other people transform their love lives, I think at the root of this problem of not feeling chosen, not feeling wanted, and these letdowns after letdowns and repeated patterns of heartbreak and loss in relationships is low self-esteem, is a feeling of unworthiness and not feeling enough, and then not having the confidence to act in accordance to the new story that you want to live from. So that is the main priority, to empower you, to elevate you during this month of November, and to really give you the guidance on how to do that, so that you can feel bloody amazing about yourself, and you know then how to embody feeling and acting like you're worthy of the beautiful relationship that you're wanting to create, that you are creating, because you are so worthy and so enough, and you always have been. It's just a matter of changing your nervous system response in relationships so that you can act differently and live from that new story, which will have a domino effect when it comes to the experiences that you're going to create in your love life. I know that this is possible for you because I have experienced it myself, and I know the conscious work that I did in order to create that change. I noticed that I was living from a story. I realised that I didn't want to live that story anymore, and I realised that I had the power to change it. And from that moment, I started telling myself a new story about what I wanted my love life to be. I wrote it down, I talked about it, I walked around thinking that that's who I was. And at first I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. I had no evidence of it. It is difficult for you to feel and believe and know something that you haven't experienced before. And that's where we've got to give ourselves the experience of feeling cherished, chosen and loved, so that then the experience of it in relationships is not so unfamiliar to us. And it's a practice, and it happens over time, and it doesn't happen overnight, which is why, again, this program is 30 days long, to give you all the opportunity of tapping into those feelings and giving yourself that experience, the experience of it. What I experienced when I was going through this was the feeling of the lack of confidence to show up as the person that I believed could be treated with that love and respect. I didn't believe that someone would show up for me because I'd never allowed them to. I'd always been the one chasing and trying to control the situation, trying to control the outcome. I'd always done that. I didn't have the experience or the trust or the ability to know that it was safe for me to let someone come to me, because I always feared that I'd just be let down. So I chased, I planned things, I tried to make sure that things would go the way that I wanted them to go. I'd ask questions, I'd double check things, I'd need reassurance, and none of that gave my specific person the space to come towards me. And that transition from going from the people pleaser and the overgiver and the overlover to the receiver of love was really scary and really terrifying. And at times I felt like I didn't have the confidence to express what I needed or what I wanted in a relationship, or what I expected when it came to being treated with love and respect and care. I didn't know how to express those things, or how to stand up for myself, or how to set boundaries when that wasn't happening. So that's why on this program that I'm doing in November, I want to do a weekly session where we talk about how to set boundaries, how to avoid codependency, which Tanya Wishlove is coming along to, and she has so much experience with helping people with codependency. That is her forte. She knows what she's doing, so I really wanted her to come along as a guest speaker on the program. But yeah, some of those things really were really difficult, and it was a really tough transition. So I can really empathise with anyone who has lived in that old story of feeling like you're the giver, you're the chaser, and that no one shows up for you, because that was my experience, not only with my specific person, but with everyone else I'd really ever been with as well. And so changing that narrative was really difficult, but it's possible. It's possible because I lived it and I did it myself. And it absolutely, definitely comes from the decision to make it so. The decision to change that love story, the decision to know that you are enough and that you deserve to be treated with love and respect, and the decision to stand in that power and stand in that version of you who shows up as someone that believes that. That's where the gold is. So, as I say, for November, we're going to be learning to do this. We're going to be elevating. We're going to be expanding our tolerance of joy, expanding our tolerance of fear as well, because that's also something we've got to do when we're changing our story. Because when that fear comes up, what we try and do is get rid of it, try and just get rid of it so that we don't have to feel it. And then we end up perpetuating the same cycle by seeking reassurance, by checking, by chasing, and all of that kind of chasey energy. And then we end up in the same cycle as we were before. So there's lots of reasons why the cycle perpetuates. And we are going to learn how to break the pattern once and for all, live in our authentic truth, which will absolutely draw the love that we want to experience in our life. So if you'd like some more information about that course, I'm going to leave the link below. I'm also available for one-to-one coaching, and there's lots of other options on my website too about how you can learn about manifestation or book a package of sessions. I'm absolutely here to support you on your journey. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.